Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 1st through the 7th. And during that time, we will have a first quarter moon that comes in on the 4th. And a first quarter can be a time of feeling a little impulsive, impatient, where your mind's very active. Might just be a little frustrating, hard to settle down, get anything done. We then move into the waxing gibbous energy, which is definitely calmer. It's a good time for a deeper understanding, kind of a more positive outlook, acting on your intuition and introspection, and just the ability to focus a little bit better. So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Capricorn. So, of course, please keep that in mind. Take what resonates for you and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading, of which two cards popped out, we will take both of them. Meditate and contemplate, which is funny because that is my general message for this week. And the answers you need are coming. So when it comes to meditation, that's something that is my weekly message this week, that to take time to meditate this week. So, quiet yourself, go within, just still your mind and your body, and just take a little bit of time to explore. So if you already meditate, you know what I'm talking about. If meditation is not something that you practice, it's just a really good time to try to start working that into your daily routine. And especially, we've got that first quarter moon on the 4th. And if that is kind of a crazy intense day for you, might be time to just set aside a little time for yourself. Maybe even set an alarm. I know a lot of times when I'm in the midst of energy that later I can recognize, oh, that's because the moon was doing this, and because some days I just wake up and I am hyper and I'm just all over the place. I get 10 projects going at once, and if my husband's around, he's getting out of my way because there's no stopping me. And on those days, I wish, and maybe I'll do this for the 4th myself, is maybe I should set an alarm that says, hey, did you stop and meditate today? Because if it's one of those crazy days, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I should do that. But anyway, I am rambling, but that's what I mean by that. Meditate, contemplate. It's time for us to take that time to think about things, past, present, future, and what lessons are we learning, and what goals are we setting for ourselves in the future. So, all right, Capricorn, without further ado, let's get into this readings for Capricorn, June 1st through the 7th. Meditate and contemplate. The answers you need are coming. And first card, I'm going to call this card the star of the week, because this card has been in more readings than any other card. This one and one other. We'll see if that one comes out. The World card. So this is kind of the end of the major arcana cycle. This is the card of perfect balance. This is just everything's in order. This is the end of learning some lessons, the end of some journey. Of course, the Fool's journey, it's the end, and it's everything's in balance. You've learned everything you need to do, but it's also can be kind of an ending in a positive way. It's like you've learned some things, and it's time to move on to the next thing. So if the answers you need are coming, you're kind of at the end of a cycle. Maybe you will have a time of evaluation and kind of looking back on what you've just been through. In your current situation is Temperance. So also a very calm card. This is inspiration. This is balance. This is, balancing the emotional world with the material world. This is just one of those cards of just peace and calm. If we could all be this every day would be a delight right now. So I love both of these cards together. You're sitting in a really, really good place. Two major arcanas, which means this is kind of a major transformation for you, Capricorn, major transforming time. At the root of your situation is the Magician, more major arcana. So yeah, here's the Magician asking you, saying, hey, you're at the end of this cycle. What do you want to do next? Where do you want to go? What do you, are you going to now focus on something financial, something emotional, something intellectual, or something more regarding passion? So which element? And it doesn't have to be one element. It can be the combination of two elements. You might turn a passion into something you make money. You might turn something emotional, some romance thing into words of love. So you might use all four elements. What elements, and what do you want to do to focus on, and where do you want to go in your next venture here? In your recent past is, yeah, this is kind of an ending, and maybe you've had some, maybe there was some anxiety um in your recent past, and you're kind of at this point where you've reached the end of something, so I'm glad you're out of that anxious time, but it looks like you're definitely in a much better energy right now, so I love that. What's on your mind is the Six of Cups. So this can sometimes be, this is a card of this is kind of just enjoying our moment, but it can also be about reminiscing and thinking. This is like, we see this as two children, so thinking about your childhood or someone from your past, someone from your childhood. Is there someone on your mind that you're kind of thinking about there, Capricorn? Did you have some dream about them? Is that what's bringing this up? But there's something maybe in your past that you need to act on that you haven't before. It doesn't necessarily mean, with another person, but maybe there's some feeling that you're trying to, what's the word I'm looking, like, kind of get back to, kind of, that nostalgia. um I always think of, I remember being very young, and it was like the first time I had just total freedom. I went to a totally different town to go to college. I didn't know anybody, and I just remember being in my car and driving one day, and the song that was on the radio, and just this feeling of like, just wow. It was the first time I was kind of like in that adult freedom feeling. It was a beautiful feeling. And that's something that I've thought about that recently. I'll hear that song and I do kind of get that feeling. So, it's kind of like, just remembering those things and remembering those little points that we've been in our life, and those little feelings and that nostalgia that you feel. All right, what is just ahead of you is the Three of Wands. So there may be some travel here in your future. Also, this is a card of new ventures. So it may be that you choose passion. When the Magician asks you what you want, you may say, I have a passion for travel and I'm going to take off and go in this direction and do some traveling. It could be that you're traveling back to your hometown for some sort of reminiscing. I remember, I'm back now where I grew up, but when I didn't live here, it was so fun to come back occasionally and drive around and, like, go drive past my old high school or old places where we would hang out, or friends' houses, or things, people that have long moved away. But again, just that reminiscing and that feeling of nostalgia. So that might be something that you want to travel to do. In your advice position is the Hierophant. So this is about seeking some guidance, and this could be, this card here, meditate and contemplate. This could be that you need to, this might be why you're listening to a tarot reading right now, that you're kind of seeking some sort of guidance, maybe in the spiritual realm. This could be, you're going to attend a church service where maybe you've been out of the habit of doing that. It might be, that you're seeking something, and the answers you need are coming. So it's okay. Get in that seeking mode. And if you find someone that is going to kind of help to guide you and lead you in a certain way, the advice is to definitely do that. Definitely be seeking, be looking for that information, and it could come in the form of a tarot reading or a YouTube video or a lecture that you listen to. Just someone who knows a little bit more than you, and wants to take you and teach you something. So definitely be on the lookout for that. What is beyond your control this week is some sort of celebration. So look at all the wands popping up here. And is there some sort of celebration that you may be traveling to? This could be reminiscing, because some of you are going to go back to your hometown and for a wedding, maybe you will be in a church service. So and if that happens with anybody, please let me know down below. I like to know when I hit something like that exactly. But for some of you, it's beyond your control to be in the presence of this sort of celebration, and that's okay. That'll be fun for you, whatever that is. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid is the Hanged Man. So is it your secret desire to kind of take on a new perspective on something, or are you trying to avoid that? It looks like you're coming out of some anxiety here, where you've learned something. And again, with this World card, you're at the end of some sort of cycle. What is the perspective that you've just picked up on? This new perspective could come from travel. It could come from this reminiscing and traveling back home. So this is your big question for the week is, are you trying to avoid having a new perspective, or is it your secret desire to kind of adopt a new perspective? So make sure you take some time, again, maybe in meditation, to ask yourself that question. In your outcome position is kind of looking back. So here we are with, we've got a 9 of Swords here, which is kind of, letting something from your past go as you head into the future. But this is kind of looking back on your journey and making evaluations about where you've been, as you kind of make this decision of how you want to move forward. What is being hidden from you? And I'm just going to say before I even flip it over, if it's the 5 of Wands, which has been in so many readings, no, it's not. Okay, I'm just checking. I think I want to say like 3 or 4 of my readings had the 5 of Wands, and I was like, well, nobody's arguing this week. But what's hidden from you this week is the Knight of Cups, which is action in the way of your emotions. And that's hidden from you this week. So very interesting. The only other cups here is this kind of reminiscing. So I don't see any action there. It might be again that it's changing your perspective. I don't see you reaching out, when it comes to sharing those emotions with someone or anything like that. But this is your big question is it your secret desire to have this new perspective from what you've just learned and what you've just been through, or are you trying to avoid that? So definitely take the time, to ask yourself that question. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Capricorn. It says the answers you need are coming. So, whatever it is that you are looking back and thinking on, it may not wrap up for you this week. This might be something that goes into next week. You may be planning some travel, and not all situations wrap up in a cycle in a week. Some things take just a little bit longer. So, yeah, keep that in mind. All right, final message here. Accept what is. Sometimes that's easy. Sometimes it's really not, right? Sometimes you do want things to be different and they're not. And speak up. Okay. I'm not sure where we're speaking up, but you'll know when the time comes that you need to do that. So very interesting. Keep your balance, keep your wits about you, Capricorn. The answers you need are coming. Like I said, meditate, contemplate, think about the cycle that you've just been through, and how is it that you want to move forward? That's kind of what's driving all of these questions this week. And do you want to have a new perspective? Do you want to really look at what you've just been through and put it into kind of wrap it up in kind of a little package so that you know that you can do better moving forward, do different moving forward. Sometimes we get in a cycle where we're doing the same things over and over. And so new perspectives offer us that chance to do things in maybe a different way. We're going to try this in a little different way and see if we get a different result. So Capricorn, I wish you the best of luck with this. Also, if you are comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a message down below. Did some of you go back to your hometown to go to a wedding? I would be very curious to know about that, to see if I, read that right. Or something in that realm. That would be very interesting for me to know as a tarot reader. I do really appreciate your time here with me today, and I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. I hope it was helpful to you. I do post weekly readings, so come back next week and we'll see if this energy continues or if there's something totally new here for you. Also, if you like my reading style, of course, please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel, and most importantly, Capricorn, it'll help you find me next week. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.